good at it, and we hope you'll enjoy the program.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for another session of Cooking with the Colonel and unfortunately Eating with Bearhead. We're having a little problem with Bearhead this morning. He's pouting. He missed the last show, and Roy Big Crane was our taster, and he was a good one.
That's
And
because he gave you a 10. Don't hand me that.
Bearhead is pouting over that. He said he forgot, but I think he just didn't want to come and eat fish, which was absolutely delicious. Anyway, today we're going to cook Wild Duck Jambalaya with hot Creole tomato sauce. This is one of the ways that you can use some wild game that we have here in western Montana. As far as that, all across the northern and western United States, game birds are plentiful. You can use duck or goose, either one for this. Sometime I'm going to try it with deer, which I never have. But jambalaya is interesting. It's a dish with a lot of vegetables, a little bit of meat, some rice, a lot of spices. And I read the other day where the name jambalaya came from. I guess there's a name in French that sounds kind of like bolayo or something like that. And there was a Cajun guy came back to the restaurant he owns one night after hunting, and he had a manager there, and he said, we need something to eat. He said, I don't have much. He says, well, just make me some balayu, which means whatever is around, leftovers. So the guy concocted this dish that we're going to make today, and his name was Jim. So after that, the owner of this restaurant called it Jim's Balayo, and it transfixed, according to this legend, to jambalaya. So what we're going to make today is wild duck breast jambalaya, and these are Montana ducks shot by the venerable hunter of the Flathead River, Bearhead Swaney. I don't know if he shot them or not, but he
Every one of them.
He says he shot every one of them, but I kind of doubt that. At any rate, what we're going to do first is get our meat ready to go, and I'm going to make two dishes here at the same time because other than that, it takes a long time. I'm going to make the sauce in one dish, and I'm going to do the jambalaya in another dish. We're going to melt some butter in both dishes here. And in this one, ultimately, we're going to put the ham. And in this one, we're going to make the sauce. Strangely enough, as you read the recipe, which is a long one, this is the recipe for the jambalaya, and the sauce recipe is about as long. They have a lot of ingredients. I'm not going to bore you with preparing the ingredients, so we pre-prepared all the ingredients. But strangely enough, the sauce has nearly the same ingredients, minus the meat, as the jambalaya itself. And you wonder, why are we doing that? The reason is that the rice and the meat cook up most of the vegetable juices, etc., in the jambalaya, so that you get a little kind of a dry jambalaya when you're in, and it does go good with this sauce. So into this butter, the first thing we're going to put is the ham. Jambalaya is basically a recipe that Creoles use to get rid of their leftovers. And you can use anything in this. You can use ham, bacon, sausage. You can use leftover beef, pork, veal, whatever you want. We're going to put the ham in there. We're going to cook that till it's kind of brown. Then we're going to put the duck breast in. Pull that off of the heat for a minute. This is what the duck breasts look like. I've parboiled the duck breasts. They look kind of like little pieces of deer meat. Actually, they're a dark meat. Very tasty. We taste it just like this, just boiled, and it tastes excellent to me. But you just dice these up. I've already done all of them but this one. Got a little butter on my fingers there, kind of hard to hold the knife. You just dice these up. We're going to add them to that ham after the ham gets browned a little bit. Stir our ham up a little bit there. And while we're doing this, we're going to start our other one here. We're going to make the sauce in this other pan. We're going to add the tomatoes, onion, celery, pepper, and thyme.
No garlic? Is your cooking without garlic today? That's a first.
No, garlic's in here. Get all of that in there to get the sauce started over here. The reason I'm doing these both at the same time is because they take about the same time to cook, and I would take too long for a show to cook one and then cook the other one. Okay, we're getting our ham a little bit brown here. You don't want to get the ham too well done. All you want to do is kind of brown it a little bit, and be sure to use smoked ham and not boiled ham. Smoked ham imparts a flavor to the jambalaya that's very nice, attractive flavor, and with the other things that we're going to put in it, it just imparts a good, nice little smoky flavor to it. Pour our duck in on top of that. And we're going to cook that for a while till we get a little brown on the ham and a little done on the duck there. And then we'll go over and take a look at I don't have my recipe for the sauce written too big, so I'm going to have to get my tomato, onion, celery, pepper, salt, thyme, onion powder, and pepper. Okay. These spices, as we're sauteing these vegetables. Now, Bearhead asked if this was a hot dish, and it's not really a hot dish, but with all these spices and the blending of the vegetable flavors and the meat flavors, it does turn out to have a little spicy flavor to it. But I'm going to serve a little hot sauce to Bearhead, and he can add that if he wants to.
It's about time you started catering to me.
If I don't cater to him a little, we started out today, he's going to give me a 3 because we made him wait. He said, I'm serving at your convenience. I'm retired. I don't like it. So he started out, he said, I got a 3 going in. We'll work on it after that. I don't know what we're going to end up getting. Okay, so in the sauce here, we've got butter, we've got tomato, onion, celery, pepper, salt, thyme, onion powder, and pepper. We're going to cook that for about 10 minutes. Then we're going to put some chicken broth, tomato sauce, and sugar in it. We're going to bring that to a boil, and we're going to simmer it for about 20 minutes while our jambalaya is cooking, which it's doing right now. Got the meat going here. You have to do this meat on kind of a hot, you have to get your pot real hot because you're trying to heat the meat through, cook it, but you want to get a little heat into it so that you get it well done on the outsides. Not well done, but done on the outside. So we're cooking our duck and our stuff together. This is what it looks like when we're cooking the duck and the ham together. It's a pretty good looking stuff. And Bearhead, after tasting one of the duck breasts that we just boiled, said that it'd make fantastic sandwiches if you chopped it up in a food grinder and added a little salt, pepper, mayonnaise, what else? Pickles. Onion. And it really would. So we have a few left over. We might try that after we're through here. Okay, now into this, we've got the duck breast. We have to put about half of our spice mixture that we mixed up for this in this one, and we'll save the rest for later. The spices are really what make this dish. Spices and the vegetable flavor. The meat's just kind of an added incentive. I said before, you could use basically any kind of meat that you want to. Okay, we got our spice mixture in there. Now we're going to put in the onion, celery, green pepper, garlic. Cook that for about 10 minutes. And here's our green pepper, onions in the same little compartment, celery, and there's our big splash of garlic. A little dry. I'm going to throw just a little bit of liquid in the bottom of there because we had a hair more ingredients than it called for, but I like to use all of the stuff that I have, and I had a piece of ham that size, a piece of duck that size. So it got a little dry because of the butter.
If you're cooking rice there, that better be Uncle Ben's minute rice, buddy, because you're late.
We don't use Uncle Ben's minute rice. We use all natural stuff. No minute stuff, no nothing. It's all natural stuff.
Well, I'm going to be here for 2 hours waiting for that rice to cook.
Oh, no, you won't. 20 minutes. Okay, let's see where we're at here in the sauce. Okay, we'll cook this just a little bit more. Then we're going to put some tomato sauce, some chicken broth in there in a minute. Got them both cooking here pretty good. These are getting a little tender. I'm going to put our chicken broth in the sauce. I'm going to put some tomato sauce in the sauce. We're going to add just a pinch of sugar to that. Oh, our vegetables and our meat here are looking good. This is what it looks like as we're cooking it. How does that look to you, Bearhead?
Pretty fast.
Look pretty good, he says. Looks pretty good. that's what it looks like when we're cooking it. As soon as we get those vegetables tender, then we'll add some rice, chicken broth. When you're making this sauce, after you put in the chicken broth, it's best to deglaze the pan. What deglazing means is that you scrape the bottom and get all the little goody stuff off the bottom up into the sauce where it's supposed to be.
That's not goody stuff, that's called soppins.
Soppins, Bearhead calls that. That's soppins, that's what you dip your bread in. Got these two both going pretty good. We'll bring this sauce to a boil here. And then we'll simmer it here while we're cooking our jambalaya. The sauce itself is kind of a neat thing. You could use it on many things. I've never used it on anything except jambalaya, but it turns out to be kind of a tomatoey vegetable sauce with little spices in it. I'm going to taste that, see what we got there, see if it requires anything else. Good. Don't think it needs anything. Shot more pepper, maybe. Vegetables are getting just about tender here. Our sauce is coming to a boil over here. So as soon as it gets to a full boil, I have it set on 8 right now, which is medium high on my electric stove. As soon as that gets to a full boil, we're going to turn it down and simmer it for about 20 minutes. Turn that sauce down and put it on about 3. Just let it sit there for about 20 minutes, and then we're going back to our jambalaya here. And we're now going to put in the rice, chicken broth, tomatoes, tomato sauce, and the remaining spice mixture. Okay, here's the rice. Bearhead says it'll take all day to cook the rice. Here's the chicken broth.
20 minutes is a long time in a retired man's life that's constantly having fun.
All he was going to do today is play golf, but he says 20 minutes is a long time. We took him past his normal lunch hour here. Don't know if he'll like that or not. So we got our rice, chicken broth, we did our tomatoes, tomato sauce, and the remaining spice mixture. There's our tomatoes. There's our tomato sauce. There's the rest of our spices we had all mixed up. Mix that up good. Anytime you're cooking anything that requires more than one ingredient, be sure that you stir it and get it all mixed up good. You don't want to end up with pockets of rice over in one corner and little piece of meat stuck together in the other corner. That's looking pretty good. Now this is what it looks like when we've got all the all the ingredients in it. Now the rice, of course, now is raw. And what we have to do now is put a lid on this so that that rice will cook. Takes about 20 minutes, and I'll see if I've left out anything. Okay, we're going to bring this to a boil. We're still simmering our sauce over here. We have a little more ingredients there than it called for, so I'm going to add about another half a cup of water to this. We'll see how that comes out. We have to have enough liquid in here to absorb the rice. We're still working with our sauce over here. The idea of simmering the sauce for 20 minutes is that you cook it down a little bit, probably about not quite half down. The liquid cooks in and boils out as steam, so that the longer we cook this, the thicker our sauce is going to be. So what we're doing here is trying to get a nice thick sauce, but liquidy enough so that you can pour it on, and so that it will complement our jambalaya, which should come out kind of thick and not runny if it's done correctly. This is a Creole dish, as I mentioned before, and everybody thinks that all Creole food is hot, and it's not. Creole food has spices, but basically the Creoles were French people in Louisiana and other places, but primarily Louisiana as we know it. And they cooked all kinds of dishes, mostly having rice, some kind of available meat that they had. They always had ham, because before refrigeration, ham was the only fresh meat you had. They always had wild game, and they always had fish. So most Creole dishes have those things and vegetables, because they're big on vegetables. What we're doing here now is getting our sauce a little bit thicker. It's simmering nicely. And our jambalaya itself here just came to a boil. So we'll mix that up good, take all the stuff down off the sides, scrape the bottom, make sure we don't have anything sticking on there. Then we're going to put the cover on that so that the rice will cook. We're going to turn our heat down from 8 to about 3.5. We're going to let that sit for 20 minutes. While we're doing that, we'll keep stirring our sauce here so that it gets a little bit thicker. And in 20 minutes, Bearhead should have his jambalaya with Creole hot sauce, made with his own Flathead River mallard ducks,
The way I've been treated.
hand shot and hand cleaned.
Well,
Bearhead is all edgy today because he wants to go play golf. However, the novice that he is, he says he's going golfing. I said, Bearhead, that's not the correct terminology. It's to go play golf.
Buffalo dust.
Go play golf. I said, have you ever heard anybody say, I'm going to go basketballing? I'm going to go footballing? No, you go play basketball, play football, play golf.
But you
don't
can
go
go
tennising.
golfing.
You go play golf. And I'm trying to straighten him out on that. One of these days I'm going to get his palate educated a little bit, but the rest of it is going to be difficult. We're going to let this simmer here for about 20 minutes, and then we'll be back and finish up with our mallard duck breast jambalaya and hot Creole tomato sauce.
And then I'm going golfing.
What was I going to do here? Oh, I'm going to set the timer. We're back to the sauce and the jambalaya, ladies and gentlemen. Our sauce is getting cooked down there good. The jambalaya has been on here about 20 minutes, which should have been time for the rice to absorb all the water. Bearhead said said that the water absorbed the rice. Made a mistake, so he's probably going to grade me down for that. Just check to see if that rice is done. Not good. If I do say
You can't
so
say
myself.
that about your own cooking, Douglas.
If I do
You
say
can't do
so
that.
myself,
that's why
that's
I'm
good.
here. Don't be patting yourself on the back.
Well, Bearhead, you're just about have to have ready to have a bowl full of bliss.
A bowl full of bliss.
We'll dish out a little jambalaya there for him. And we'll spoon over a little bit of this Creole sauce. And we'll set that in front of the old fella and see what he has to say. He never even heard of jambalaya before we got here, just like most of these things. Probably kind of hot there. Gotta watch the old gums.
Clark. Go and try some of that duck. That was good though. I had all veggies there.
Well, now taste the duck. You'll be amazed how the duck tastes with that sauce on it.
Has a taste like beef to me. It doesn't.
It doesn't have the wild taste of duck, does
No
it?
wild taste, nothing.
Would you care for a little more coffee there?
Well,
we haven't got to numbers yet, so coffee, and there's a little bread there for you too, Senor, if you would like.
Well, I was going to give him a 3 because he irritated me somewhat. I was going to give him a 3, and because I don't like duck, number 1. But this duck is, for all you people out there who hunt ducks that don't like duck and wonder how to cook them or try to find ways, this is the best I've ever eaten.
Very good, very good.
I'm going to give him, it's spicy.
But it's not too hot, is it?
It's not too hot. I'd like it a little hotter, but I'm not grading you down for that. Damn, Douglas. My fan club says that I give you 10s too easy, but I'm going to have to give you another 10.
Hey, there we go. Very good, very good. That is good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you've seen even Bearhead like duck jambalaya with Creole sauce on it. You don't have to have duck. You don't have to have anything. You can make jambalaya out of absolutely anything as long as you get the vegetables in there, and you can even change vegetables if you want to. The spices, the pepper, the thyme, those things are the most important thing in the jambalaya. So with Bearhead giving me a 10 and the crew waiting to eat the rest of it, thank you very much for joining us in another segment of Cooking with the Colonel. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't give him for artistic presentation now.
Uh-oh. Got to go back, ladies and gentlemen.
Artistic presentation to Jera. I'm going to give a 10 for what she did. For you and your addition to it, I'm going to give you a 5 for your art. You stick a plate out there that don't belong. You don't have matching salt and pepper shakers or sugar and creamer. Had to put it over here to the side so they wouldn't. I'm giving you a 5 for artistic presentation. Jera gets a 10.
Ladies and gentlemen, just goes to prove that you can't win them all. Thank you very much again for eating with the Colonel.
This is good.
I mean, cooking with the Colonel and eating with Bearhead. Thank you very much. That should do it, huh?